Okay, so if you watch or listen to our show, you probably already know that when I open a story by saying, hey, there was a rare moment of sanity on Fox News, it's almost always Shep Smith. And sometimes, like every once in a while, it'll be Chris Wallace. Today is the exception to that trend. Yes, Trump was called out for his lies. Yes, it was on Fox News. Yes, it was a male anchor, but it was not Shep Smith. And it was not Chris Wallace. It was actually Neil Cavuto. And the topic was the $130,000 in hush money, that repayment admission from Rudy Giuliani that we've talked about relating to Trump's repayment of that hush money. Neil Cavuto did a monologue and called what's going on out as lies, but he didn't actually use that word, right? But we could all sort of understand what he was saying. Cavuto made it very clear that the story is not making any sense. Trump denied any knowledge of it. Rudy Giuliani says Trump did pay back, but then sort of walks it back, which we'll talk about later. It's just not making any sense. Here is Neil Cavuto on Fox News pointing this out.
President Trump is fond of calling out the media on fake news, but is he the one giving them very real ammunition? Maybe not intentionally. I'll even give you the benefit of the doubt, Mr. President, and say maybe not deliberately, but consistently, way too consistently. So let me be clear, Mr. President. How can you drain the swamp if you're the one who keeps muddying the waters? You didn't know about that $130,000 payment to a porn star until you did. Said you knew nothing about how your former lawyer, Michael Cohen, handled this until acknowledging today you were the guy behind the retainer payment that took care of this. You insist that money from the campaign or campaign contributions played no role in this transaction. Of that, you're sure. Thing is, not even 24 hours ago, sir, you couldn't recall any of this, and you seem very sure. Now, I'm not saying you're a liar, you're president, you're busy. I'm just having a devil of a time figuring out which news is fake. Let's just say your own words on lots of stuff give me, shall I say, lots of pause. Like the time you said the Russians didn't interfere in the 2016 election until a lot of Republicans had to remind you they did. Came back months later and you said, well, I never said that Russia didn't meddle in the election when, in fact, you had a lot. Now, none of this makes me a never-Trumper, just always confused. Like when you claimed your tax plan was the biggest in U.S. history when it wasn't, or that the bill you signed to make it all happen would cost you a fortune when it turns out it is going to help make you a bigger fortune, or that your job approval numbers really aren't that bad relative to other presidents at this stage, when they're actually worse than most presidents at this stage. That can change, but what's weird is this pattern does not.
So you get the idea. This is probably the best we can hope for on Fox News other than Shep Smith. And certainly, Neil Cavuto doesn't go far enough here. He's still using careful language. It's Fox News after all. He's not going to just say straight up, this guy's been lying to us, and clearly deliberately for a very long time. But it still is a move in the direction of even Fox News getting to the end of what they're willing to tolerate from Trump. And then, of course, predictable, the Fox News audience crushing Cavuto for even meekly suggesting that maybe some of the things our revered Mr. President has said might not have been accurate. Fox News viewers have been tweeting just horrible things to Neil Cavuto, calling him a leftist liberal and a moron, saying they won't be watching his show anymore, enjoy your low ratings, he needs to be shipped out. And the next day, Cavuto had to do sort of a clarification. He spent 7.5 minutes reading angry tweets and responding to lots of them individually and sort of saying, hey, listen, I'm not a never-Trumper. Take a look.
Anyway, fake news works both ways, Kenny. So does consistency. Every fact I presented last night was real. Every comment I used from the president was his, not my words, his words, word for word, not my tweets, his tweet. Nothing was fake. Everything I shared was real, no matter. Billy Bob emails, you're a smug, pompous windbag. I hope that you croak on that pork chop tonight. Wait a minute.
Yeah. The other thing to bear in mind here is that just because Neil Cavuto said some of the things our president has been saying seem to be inaccurate or inconsistent, he and Fox News don't deserve any journalism awards, right, for timidly acquiescing to the completely undeniable reality that Trump's not being honest. This is one of the most dishonest presidents in history. The only reason it's notable is that Fox News has been the propaganda machine for Trump. And if you're waiting around for Fox News to take this trend or take this approach on all of its shows like Fox and Friends, I would not hold my breath. The problem with Fox News being almost a 100% uninterrupted stream of total propaganda is that you tell the truth once, here just basically saying, sometimes Trump's not 100% honest, and you get crushed and people get really, really mad. So the best possible scenario here is that maybe Fox is starting to tear itself apart or eat itself, whatever analogy you want to use. The other is this might lead to a total house cleaning at Fox News to get everybody 100% on message. Either way, I'm super interested in watching what happens on Fox News.
And, I don't watch a lot of MSNBC, but a lot of people think of MSNBC as the left-wing equivalent of Fox News.
Yeah.
If an MSNBC host was critical of Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, I would actually kind of like it, especially coming from them, if they were being critical on the right things. But you never see that on Fox News, or at least not as much, because the committed Trumpists just won't have it.
Not in the same way, yeah. And of course, Cenk Uygur from the Young Turks has the story about how when he was hosting on MSNBC and there was a discussion about a possible longer-term job for him, how one of the things he was told was you got to sort of step away a little bit from the criticism of President Obama. But towards the end of Obama's presidency, you arguably saw more dissenting voices from the left on MSNBC. In a lot of ways, we are talking about two profit-driven corporate news outlets whose editorial positions are different, but that dynamic is one that is going to be very, very hard to break at Fox News, especially if their core profitable audience starts to turn away because they start to say, wait a second, we're not getting the message that we were expecting and hoping to get from Fox News. Send me your thoughts. What's going on with Cavuto? What do you think is driving him to do this? Because he could also just do another segment, right? He didn't have to do this story. I'm on Twitter at @dpakman, and the show is on Twitter at David Pakman Show. Today's episode of the program is made possible in part by Cody, which is an innovative new cryptocurrency and online payment platform that wants to revolutionize how we send and receive online payments. Cody stands for Currency of the Internet, and the goal is to build an infrastructure for online payments that's simple, transparent, trustworthy, instantaneous, as well as scalable. And today's payment solutions have a number of different trust and usability problems, whether it's between consumers or between businesses or between consumers and businesses. And Cody wants to solve a lot of those problems through their currency and platform, which, unlike a lot of the cryptos and blockchains that are out there, have actually been created specifically and solely to be used for payments. Cody has set out to do this by using innovative base layer protocol in the form of a directed acyclic graph-based ledger built from transactions connected through time by harnessing trust-based algorithms. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can find out more about Cody and their initial coin offering in the links below this video. This is not financial advice, and everybody should do their own research.